Hello, we are going to start statistical analysis with Excel. I'm going to be going through activity 3.7. We're going to be graphing our heights. Let me share the screen with you so that you see what I see, and I'm going to open up an Excel notebook so that we can get started. Just going to minimize this here, click Open Excel. Go a blank workbook. I'm actually just going to minimize a couple things for us here. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. First things I'm just going to put the activity name, 3.7. That's all I really want. My name. And then this one is going to be height of students. Okay, and we're going to measure in feet and in inches. And I'm just going to put a couple of them down. You're most all like 5 feet, just different inches. The 5 feet 6, 5, 4, 5, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6. That sounds about good to me. And these will be, let's see, how many do we have here? It looks like I have a count of 10. So I have 10 of these. That's nice and easy. Now we're going to find their average, our mean, our median, our mode. We're going to do a number of different things here. So in order to do any of them, we first need to convert our feet and inches into decimal feet. We cannot work with feet and inches. I don't know what the formula would be, but it'd be very, well, I do know the formula, but it'd be very difficult for us to find the average when we have feet and inches. So what we're going to do is just create decimal feet, and we're going to use an easy formula. We're going to go equals, which gives us our formula bar. I'm going to scroll on over to feet. So A6, and I'm going to go plus. And then our inches portion, we're going to convert to feet. So there's 12 inches in a foot. So 6 divided by 12, I should get 5.5 feet. And there's what I have. Okay, now here shows our formula. We can see that we use A6 and B6. So B is our column, and 6 would be our row. A is our column, and again, 6 would be our row. Now, very easy way that Excel can do calculations for us. Now I'm going to scroll over until I see this little plus in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm going to click and hold and drag. And when I let go, my answers are going to be filled in for me. I only needed to enter in the formula once. Now notice, as I click down, my column stayed the same, but my rows changed. Again, my column stayed the same, but my rows changed. Now I want to make sure that these all have the same number of decimal points at the end. I'm going to hover on over here to increase decimal point, and I'm going to give myself, oh, let's say 3 places past the decimal point for us to look at. So now we have decimal feet, which is great. Now we can do our averages, our mode, our median, everything like that. Now we could do this the long way, and I'll just show the sum function here really quick. But if we wanted to add these all up, divide by 10, we could. So if I went equals, sum function adds a whole bunch of different numbers. So it's looking for number 1, number 2, and so on. So all I'm going to do is go here and highlight the data that I want to analyze, sum. So I push enter, and there I have the sum of those. And then if I wanted an average, all I would need to do is go equals. This one, C16 divided by the number that we have 10 of them. So there's my average. However, Excel can do this much easier. I'm going to type in average here, and I'm going to use a function. I'm going to go equals average. Here's my average function right here. I double click on it, and again, it's asking me for that array of numbers. So I'm going to go over here and select the numbers I want to average, put an end parentheses, and hit enter. And notice how it gives me the same thing in only one simple step. So I'm going to erase these. And now that we have our average, the next thing I want to do is our mode. I just want to do single modes right now. So if you done and mode, notice you see a single mode and a multi-mode. Multi-mode is a little more difficult. It involves a little more level of difficulty. So let's just do single mode for right now. I'm going to double click on that, highlight the numbers I want to find the mode of, put an end parentheses and hit enter. Notice the one that comes up the most is my 5.41667 feet, and that corresponds to our 5'5". So 5'5", 5'5", 5'5". I had 3 of them, so that's why that one popped up as our mode. The next thing I want to do is our standard deviation. And notice if we assume that our data is population data, we have one formula, if you recall from yesterday's notes. Or if we assume that our data is a sample data, we're going to have 2 different equations. And Excel has both of those equations waiting for us. I'm going to go up here right next to my population standard deviation. I'm going to put equals. And this one is an abbreviation. So type in STD, and now we see it. STDEV dot P for population and dot S for sample. I'm going to double click on the population one. Again, highlight my numbers, end parentheses, and push enter. See, I want to get more decimal points here, but wow, it looks like our standard deviation is exactly 0.1. Next, I'm going to do the sample standard deviation, STDEV dot S. I'm going to highlight my numbers again, end parentheses, and push enter. Notice I have 2 different numbers, and that's correct. We have different equations for population standard deviation and sample standard deviation, so we should have 2 different numbers for those 2 different standard deviations. The next what we can do is find our range, and one way that we can do this is finding our minimum value. Now, it's not too hard to pick up minimum value in 10 numbers, but say we had 1,000 numbers. That would be very tedious for us to look at. So instead, what we're going to do is type in the equation equals min. It's asking again for a set of numbers, end parentheses, and push enter. And notice it found our 5 feet 2 inches, our minimum value. What I'm going to do is just move that over. I'm going to cut it and paste it. I'm going to minimum right here. But the next thing we can find is our median. And that, again, we have another equation that Excel gives us. We can just type that in, end parentheses, and push enter. Now notice it gave us 5.375. That's 5 3/8 of an inch. Or sorry, 5 3/8 of a foot. Now we don't have 3/8 of a foot up here. What we're finding is that we have an even number, and it is taking the average of the 2 middle numbers for us. So it does all that work for us, which is very, very nice, very handy. Another one we can find is the maximum. And we're setting up to be able to do our range here. So go equals max, starting parentheses, select our numbers, ending parentheses, push enter, and it found our 5'6" for us, so 5.5, and then our range right here. We can just type in our maximum minus our minimum and push enter. Our range is 0.333 feet. All right, we can do all this manually, but it's much faster typing it into Excel. It's even faster when we use something in what's called the Analysis Toolpak. And let's see if we can't get that installed here real quick. So the Analysis Toolpak, we need to go to File and Options. We need to go to Add-ins. And we need to make sure that Analysis Toolpak is highlighted. And once we have that, we push Go. And Analysis Toolpak is to be highlighted right here. And push OK. Once we're done with that, go to our Data section, and we'll see it right here. Data Analysis. So I'm going to push Data Analysis. And I'm going to go to Descriptive Statistics. That's what I'm looking for. Push OK. And our input range is just going to be the numbers, our decimal feet of our height. Once we have that, we just select that in there. Notice whatever it says right here, that's what it means when I'm looking for C6 through C15. Okay? The output range is wherever I want to put my descriptive statistics. So I'm going to go range. I don't want it to go to a new worksheet. That would create a new sheet down at the bottom with the descriptive statistics on. What I'm going to do is just select a box right over here and see if that works. So I'm looking for summary statistics, and that's all that I'm going to do right now is summary statistics. So once I have all those things in there, I'm going to push OK. And notice it does everything for me. Our median, our mode, our standard deviation, it gives us a sample standard deviation. It gives us our range right here, our minimum, and our maximum. It gives us a sum and a count. So notice it does all that work for us, which is very, very nice. Very, very simple. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start by making a histogram. Now, if you recall, to make a histogram, what we need are what I call bins. And what bins are, it's just a range of values that are going to go in a certain bin for our histogram. Again, a histogram is just a glorified bar chart that tells us the frequency of, in this case, heights in a certain range. So I'm going to make some bins. I'm going to start off at, let's say, 5 feet, 1 inch. So let's just say 5.1 feet. Then I'm going to do 5.4 feet, 5.7 feet, 5 point, and then I'm going to do 6 feet. So all the way up here. I probably don't have enough bins. That's okay. Let's just go with this for now so I can show you exactly what I'm looking for. These are the bins I need set up on my worksheet before I can use my Analysis Toolpak to make a histogram again. So under Data, I'm going to go to Data Analysis, Histogram this time. And I'm going to pick my input range, which is just right here. I'm going to pick my bin range, which is what I just set up right here. And then my output range, I'm going to choose to put, let's say, right there. Oop, that did my input range for me. So I'm going to redo that. Bin range, output range. I click this one. I'm just going to say right there, and hopefully that's all it needs from me. All right, and we can click OK. And there we go. So it tells us in our bins Our numbers less than 5.1 and equaling 5.1 are 0. So we had none that were 5.1 or lower. We had 5 of them that were 5.4 or lower. And we had 5 of them that were 5.7 or lower. Notice that all our values are below 5.7. And then at 6 feet, we had nothing. And that's okay. So I'm going to select these right now. And I'm going to go to Insert. And here's where I can finally put in my chart. I'm going to go to Recommended Charts. Oh, look at that. Gives us a nice histogram chart already set up for us. What I'm going to do is just move it a bit. A bit down here so I don't cover anything up. There's a couple different things I'd like to change. I want to call this what it is I'm actually graphing. So I want to call this heights. I want to go to format, or sorry, design. And I want to make sure that I have labels. So this is all kind of new for me. So let's see where I go and select my labels. Size and properties, format chart area, text options. Horizontal axis. So here we go. I got there by going to chart options. Horizontal axis. Now here's where I can just change the type of lines that I'm getting, how it's filled. What I really am looking for though is something else, and that's how to change my labels. Chart title, plot area, series frequency. You know what? I just don't see it. Here we go. Axis titles. So that's what I would like to change. So over here for an axis title, I have frequency. Down here I have, it's called student height in feet. A couple more things. We can change the distance between these. You can find this on your Statistical Analysis with Excel PowerPoint section, and it'll tell us exactly how to format these things. So please take a look at that, and before you hand this in or print it off, make sure you're asking your instructor to look it over for you, just to make sure that you've done everything he's asked. Okay, so that's it. We've basically gone over how to do descriptive statistics, including histograms, with Excel. I hope you find it fast and easy, and that you can use this in the future to reduce the amount of work you have to do to find these certain statistics.